Wine number 8 is about to be revealed. Cheers, wine lovers.
Cheers. Red wine from British Columbia. Stay tuned. Cheers in wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, everyone across the country. It's reveal number 8. Number 8. Here we are. Like, it's going so well. We're having so much fun. Mira Boucher, happy Friday. How's it going?
It is. It's vendredi. Like vin, like wine, right?
C'est vendredi, OK, ouais, le vin numéro 8, à tout le monde en français, un beau bonjour.
There's an 8 on my shoulder too. Look, 8.
Exactly. I mean, Mira's getting ready for the big game tomorrow. So the Ravens are hosting the Steelers, the big division game for the division championship. So Mira is rocking the Ravens shirt. I freaking love it. I swear, if we win tomorrow night, I'm wearing that shirt for the live. Okay, for wine number 9. And look at which number you have. It's 89. So 8 for tonight, 9 for tomorrow night. This is
makes sense now. See, everything happens for a reason. It was just,
exactly wine number 8, Friday night. The kids are now on vacation for the holidays. Yeah, it is. But we have a big, dark, and juicy wine to reveal tonight. And I can't wait. We have an interview, also like a 25 almost minute interview, really cool interview with one of our favorite person in the wine industry. So yeah, it's going well. We are seven nights already in the book, 7 interviews in the book. 7-1. Like, I mean, it's been an incredible journey, right?
I think so. It's really fun. I mean, this is the most fun part of the whole thing.
I have a question for you, Mira. You've tasted all of these wines so far. Is there one so far that you think really speak to you more than the others? Is it?
Oh no, I don't choose favorites with wines. I just like them all.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what?
You're gonna end up in politics at one point.
Yes, I'm very politically correct with my wines.
Way too fucking much.
That bubbly was super memorable on the first day.
Okay.
It's just something really unique about it. Very special kind of bubbly. I could have it with like 20 other bubblies and be like, that was the one. That's the one. And I love it. Like, there's something very special about it. So yeah, definitely like that bubbly. But I like them all. I think they're all great. I was just thinking, we haven't had a rosé, hey?
No, there's no rosé in the Advent calendar. There's not. I mean, we all had Daniel Bonter in 7 Direction. I mean, it's such a staple in the club. I tried to select stuff that people have not tasted. It was not highly featured in the club. There's no wine that we highly feature in the club during the year. So that was one of my criteria. No rosé, no 7 Directions, no Tractor and Vines. We could have put maybe my second favorite rosé of the year was probably Stratus Gamay. But we just featured it, so I didn't see, and I haven't dig a little deeper in rosés since the month of August or so. So yeah.
Well, I'm not complaining because I think the lineup is brilliant. I think you've outdone yourself. I think it's great.
So here we are. But tonight we are in the big boy right now. We are now big and bold wine. Tonight we have a 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. Yep, We sure do. 100% Cap Sauv. That's going to be probably one of my highest rated so far. I'm like, it's the highest so far. It's 94 points with the Mouchardre Syrah. I'm pretty close to that. I have to smell and taste a little bit more, but yeah. Okay, excellent. So Daryl is
getting sound on YouTube, hey? Oh no, Daryl's got sound. He's just giving advice to Louise. Sorry about
that. There you go. There you go. You got me wonder for a second. Yeah, so yeah. Okay. Before we release, let's recap already from the beginning. You okay with that?
Yeah, let's recap, and then I will unwrap the 8th line.
Number 1, we had Benjamin Bridge, non-vintage reserve traditional method. Was day number 1. Day number 2, we went to the Beamsville bench in Niagara with Malivoire Courtney Gamay. Number 3, we were in the Okanagan East Kelowna slope with the Old Vine Riesling from Tantalus Vineyard. Day 4, the highest rated so far, it was Mouchardre Vineyard 2020 Syrah. Now, day 5, we went from Lake Erie North Shore all the way to the Golden Mile in the Okanagan for the GSM with Esther Creek. From the Golden Mile, we went back. Did we went back 5? GSM 6 was what? Oh, yes. Prince Edward County. Prince Edward County with Trail Estate at Pinot Noir. After the Pinot Noir, last night we had the legendary Thomas Batchelder with Mio Chardonnay. Mio Chard last night, a 93 plus points. And tonight, it's night number 8. Le 8e vin du calendrier de l'Avent pour tout le monde en français. Un beau bonjour à nos amis de francophones de l'Est du pays, la belle province de Québec. Partout en français, on vous dit un beau bonjour. Ce soir, on vous dévoile le vin numéro 8 de notre calendrier de l'Avent. Mia, where are we going tonight? What are we having to unwrap? 100% Cap Sauv from British Columbia, not from the Okanagan, not from the Thompson Valley either. So Mike Laplante's guest last night with either Monte Creek or these regions. No, we're going to the Similkameen Valley with 100% Cap Sauv. Please unwrap that wine.
I will. I have to say, Dean got a number 8 in a paper bag. So, Dean, if you haven't unwrapped it, let's see. Let's see if there was a mistake. That might be interesting. Dean also got the Carl wrap on the number 8. That's interesting. Okay. Well, let's see how that goes. Maybe I did this wrong. Was this supposed to be? Because I wrapped the one we're unwrapping.
No, because you wrap them as we go right now. Yeah, I had the even number. You had the odd number. We're all good. We're all good. Stop.
Okay.
Yeah. Mira?
We were very careful. We're like, we can't put the wrong sticker on the wrong bottle because that would confuse people. Be like, oh yeah, that's a Chardonnay. No, it's quite dark for a Chardonnay.
Yes.
Okay.
100% Cap Sauv. 100% Cap Sauv. Yeah. There you go. Corey Salat Estate Winery. The 2021 cab. Here you go. That's what we have tonight in my glass. Look at that. Deep and dark. Oaky on the nose. For people who like the oak, you got some oak there. I like the oak profile. I mention it quite often. I'm not against the oak profile. I'm not against the oak when it's well managed. I like my wine with oak. I do. I do. And this one, I can smell it. I can taste it. It's well integrated. It fits the profile, especially with Cab Sauv, to give it some oomph, to give it some roundness, to give it some complexity and some layers. Yes, I don't mind. So this is a stunning Cab Sauv, the Similkameen Valley, known as the organic valley of Canada, the organic region of Canada, because it's so windy out there. There's there's very little pests, very little the pressure disease. It's very easy to grow organically out there. Pretty much everything out there is organic. Course Select really pride themselves their Cabernet Sauvignon. Listening to Charlie. Charlie's going to be in an interview in a few minutes, but he mentioned his Cabernet Sauvignon. It's the crown jewel of the winery. And I mean, I absolutely love the Cab. If you have it, if you're listening to the show tonight and you purchase your own advent calendar and you have wine number 8 open, if you had a sip already, if you had a sniff already, let me know. I want to know what you're thinking. I mean, now we had another very full. Well, yeah, we have one other full body red. It's the Mouchadre Syrah. And it was much more on elegance than this. It's a much bigger wine, much more masculine, much more powerful. So I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say, you members, and if you ever had a wine from the Similkameen Valley, if you even know where is the Similkameen Valley. This is a very unique place. This is a very dramatic place. I mean, we have a ton of crazy picture. We took winemakers from all over the country in the Similkameen Valley this summer at the Pan-Canadian Masterclass. We toured Jean-Benoit Deslauriers from Nova Scotia and Lou and Marcel from Niagara-on-the-Lake, the flat, the beach, like Thomas will call it, in the Similkameen. And the guys were like, oh, that's funny. I can hear Keith Dyer still saying, I can't fucking believe that they're growing grape here. So yeah, here we had Ilya Sanchez.
And we learned from Charlie, I don't know if he's going to talk about it in the interview, but that wind plays a big role in terroir for the Similkameen, which is really interesting. So it beats up the grapes, gives them thicker skins, which means you get different flavors, right?
I mean, the wind is part of everything in the Similkameen Valley. And now more than I'm talking to people, I talked with Michael Clark at Clos du Soleil the other day for a different project. But Michael's the first thing that he mentioned, the wind. Like the wind changed everything in the Similkameen Valley. Yes, in terms of beating up the grapes and thickening up the skins, but also about keeping everything so dry. So it's one of the other parts.
Pests, and that's why they can be organic.
Exactly. The pressure disease.
Also, with the diurnal temperatures, so at night, this cool air sweeps in with the wind, takes all the hot air out, so that it keeps the grapes' acidity intact. Right, overnight it gets nice and cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm so sorry that Louise, you had trouble with YouTube. Hopefully no one else is having trouble with YouTube. There is Facebook as an option. And then Daryl is asking, Carl, not sure about the oak being integrated. What's your thought?
I thought it's good. I got that layer of vanilla who just like sweet up the edges. I mean, this right now, to me, it's drinking well. I like that.
But you like them in their youth. You like them feisty.
I do like them in their youth, and I think 2021, because of the type of vintage it was, I mean, bring the bricks pretty high, the sugar level pretty high, It's not a 19 vintage. It's not a colder vintage where it's tight. To me, it's not tight at all. It's already like halfway open. The oak is sitting at the top, but it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. Absolutely, to my opinion. I like that quite a lot. I also like the finish with the little toasted spice, that cinnamon, the cloves, a little bit of black cracked pepper. So that's from the toastiness of the barrel. Is it like this? No, it's 2021 and we're in 2024. So that wine, and it was so little produced that this wine is just in and out of the market with 280 cases made. Can it sit longer? Oh, absolutely. When the prime window of drinkability of that wine will open, I would say probably 2 years from now, that's where that wine will be at its absolute best, to my opinion. This wine will age easily for 10 years. Easily, absolutely, no doubt. Without the shadow of a doubt, this wine has a decade of aging, no problem. How does it fare right now? I would say, to me, it shows 95% of his goodness. I mean, fantastic wine. I like where he's at the moment. Daryl, I know you like your wine a little bit more on the older stage of it. So yeah, and like I said, maybe we'll hit this very top prime window of drinkability in a year and a half, 2 year, year and a half, 18 months. But yeah, it's in a good spot for me right now. It's in a very good spot. That's my personal opinion. What do you think? What's on your side, Mira? What's the your palate is telling us here?
Yeah, it's a bold one. It's a big one. I'm glad, Louise, by the way, that you can hear us on Facebook. So it must have been some kind of setting or something on that YouTube that got mixed up, hopefully, because it sounds like everyone else is hearing us out there. Dean's got a good question. Do you know when this one was released? Probably a year ago.
Was probably released earlier this year, maybe some early summer, maybe in May.
Yeah, so they're suggesting on the bottle cellar for 5 to 10 years. What are you suggesting for that one, Carl?
Well, that's what I just mentioned. I just spent the last 2.5 minutes answering that question. So that's what I'm saying. Another 18 months, 18 to 24 months until it really hits its prime window of drinkability. A decade of aging, depending on where you like it on the scale. Dark fruit, really dark fruit. This is nothing on small little red berry there. It's dark fruit. It's blackberry, blackcurrant, cassis, black plum, but also a little bit of eucalyptus, maybe a little bit of tar as well. Back at the very back end, that's where we got the toasted spice with cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, all of these goodies from the toasted barrels. Really shows a little bit of black cracked pepper as well. There's that something that I really like. It's that chalky, stony, the stony feel that I call like the charcoal-like sensation on the finish. I really get that. That rugged sensation on the finish.
The tannins or something, but
yeah, but the tannins are nothing too aggressive. This is 21 vintage. I mean, to my opinion, the tannins are fairly soft right now. And to me, it's more of a minerality sensation on the back end. It's that rugged similkameen feel. That's that terroir component. That's where I really connect that wine with the site. It's that finish, that rugged texture of the finish. And I don't think it's the tannin. The tannin on the front are kind of soft. I don't think that these tannins are harsh at all. So that what tells me that the wine is really on its curve in a very good spot. So yeah, that's my technical assessment of where we're at right now. So
Very
yeah.
cool, very cool. Awesome. Okay, well, should we bring Charlie in?
Bring him in.
Should we bring him on? You just did this interview earlier today, I think? Or was it
Yeah,
yesterday?
late yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, because Charlie had something else going on this evening, but I cannot wait to hear from him.
They were at an
I'll show
event.
you guys. Yeah, I'll show you guys after what Charlie did the first time we met him. He took us, he said, first I got to get my gun because there might be coyotes where we're going. And I got to get my cactus remover in case
The
pliers, because it's a real thing up there. And then he put us in an ATV and we went up to the top of one of the peaks near his winery there where he's got a new vineyard planted. So pretty cool. I'll show you guys.
I mean, the Similkameen is just a unique site. It's a unique place in the world. Maybe Mira. Yeah, exactly. I would like if you have a few pictures to show before we go into the interview so people can have the visual of the valley while we're putting the interview. I don't know. Is it possible or easier for you to start? Let's start it.
Let me show you real quick.
Yeah, you can. So you can start.
So look at this. So I'm gonna show just on my my Google Photos here. The last one of the times that we went. Oh my gosh, so many pictures from my kids. Can you guys see this? No. So just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. Like, look, it's like rocky desert, but there's cacti. Like, that's the Similkameen. And it feels
right
like
there.
You're in National Geographic. I mean, it's just like, look at those mountains. They're massive, right? And then you got these grapevines. It's just so interesting.
Oh, it's cool because like I said, when we had all of these people from back east at the Pan Canadian, and it was one of the most telling moments of the whole 4 or 5 days with these guys. And when we got there, to see winemakers from Nova Scotia, Prince Edward County, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Beamsville Bench, being in the aha moment, just looking at the landscape and saying, holy shit, I never thought that, like it's, yeah, just like to see winemakers from the same country, just like Thomas was saying yesterday, right? I mean, like they're almost 4,000 kilometers away. It's and to have that landscape and see how incredible difference they have where they make their wines on Niagara-on-the-Lake and versus the Similkameen Valley. The landscape is just so different and so dynamic and dramatic. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to find the little videos of when Charlie took us up to the top of that big rock behind their winery where they were planting the Pinot Noir vineyard. I think by now, that was 2 years ago. By now, like probably in a year or two, they'll have grapes from there. They'll have their first Pinot Noir. So that'll be interesting.
Mary Mira, we're talking about it during the interview. Remember, something happened this year in 2024, right?
Yeah, that's true. Those vines might have not made it. That's true. Yeah, we'll have to find out. So he's going to mention that?
We're talking about it. Don't you think that I spent 30 minutes with Charlie without talking about that trip in the ATV?
There you go. Okay.
You know
okay.
Well,
videos for after. Okay, here we go. Here's Charlie Basler from Courcellets and the Similkameen, BC.
Here you go. Here you go now. Wine number 8. We are in the Similkameen Valley for I've been waiting for that for a while because guys, I have a very cool fact about our winery today. We own a wine club and we have been part of one wine club as a wine club members on our entire life. And it was Courcellets Estate Winery. We were wine club members there for 2 years and because when we feature Charlie's Wines in Carl's Wine Club, we were so happy with what we got. We wanted to be wine club members. So Charlie Bessler, owner, winemaker at Courcelette Estate Winery. Charlie, welcome to our Advent calendar, the Pan-Canadian journey across the country. Welcome.
Thanks, Carl. It's great to be here, and I sure do remember your wine club participation. So that weighs heavy on my heart. So thank you for participating.
Yeah, it's still to this day we've never signed up for another wine club since. So I mean, only one, and it's Courcelette. Sure, our members are remember our feature with you guys because it's a name that comes up quite often. But before we talk all about that, I would love for you to introduce the project. So when did you started Courcelette, and how did you select the Similkameen Valley? How did everything unfold for you, Charlie?
Sure. So I come from an agricultural background. I studied, took formal university studies in environmental chemistry, environmental science, to not farm. And I fell in love with the idea of bringing, it's kind of more advanced agricultural technology and precision vineyards. And so I really am a farmer first, and fell in love with the Similkameen for all those, right? It's such a great canvas. Only very seed matter, which is named after our family farm in Switzerland, which originally I'm from. Courcelette is a food producing basket. It's a term that used to be used for food producing villages or communities outside of fortified castles. So the castle of Granson, which is near our farm in Courcelette, Switzerland, which of course was the fortified royal family's holdings. Our farm used to be the satellite community that produced all the food for that society. So that's what Courcelette is, and it comes up a lot. There's in fact a Courcelette in Quebec named after that. It's a small little village. I looked it up once, and so that's what Courcelette is. Started the brand in 2010 with a very small production. It was kind of very hobby style, a couple barrels in the garage. We were pulling some fruit from a vineyard here in the Similkameen. And then in 2011, really dove into it and, took the financial leap and committed to a small parcel of land. And it's grown rather quickly since. So both my wife, Jessie, and I, who's an enormous part of this project, was also working for other wineries, as was I. And so as we transitioned to focus more on our own, we ultimately in 2014, 2015, took another big leap and acquired the site where we're now at today. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of in broad strokes, I guess, how we got here. We really do have a massive passion for everything wine and farm, and have just found the Similkameen to be such an amazing place to continue that project.
How many acres of vine that you guys have now under your banner?
We have just under 40 planted. We own a bunch of mountainous terrain. So, there's some notes on our website. We have about 170 acres of real estate that we certainly use for recreational purposes and hiking, walking, etc. But of the 40 planted acres, it's distributed over 4 different properties.
4 different properties, focusing on which grape varietals? Is there grape varietals who is king at Courcelette? Is it or you guys try to be as diversified as possible?
Well, I mean, we're always very sites, conscious. So not all sites, for example, we don't want to push the square into a round hole. Our sites, with time as well, I mean, we've been farming this place for nearly 15 years now, that we get a good handle on what sites are doing what. The Similkameen, Carl, as you know, is far from uniform. So not just in climate, in microclimates, but in soil.
Lots of pockets, right? It's to me, like I kind of describe the Similkameen as pockets, like something like some cooler side right next to hotter side, depending on the airflow and all that.
And you can throw a rock at those different sites. That's how kind of dramatic the transition, particularly when we consider soils, how quickly things can transition. So, having put a lot of holes in the ground and just kind of getting a sense for what this all looks like, we do focus, we'll talk certainly more about the Cabernet in a little bit, but our late ripening varietals are really designed to be planted on the highest, steepest, stoniest sites or locations of our farms, while we'll transition to Pinots, Chardonnays, and Merlots down kind of on the lower bench or the lower parts of those shoulders. As you know, and again, pictures are 1,000 words. We farm a lot of these really steep alluvial fans. So right out my office window here is, we're 200 feet from a vertical cliff, and below that vertical cliff is these talus slides, which is of course one of our flagship wines, or the flagship wine, which represents all these geological characteristics across the spread. So we own about a mile of that really narrow bandwidth of high elevation. And I think the reason we ended up with it is because honestly, 50, even 20 years ago, the idea of getting water and developing some of those sites just wasn't feasible. I mean, land was more available than it is now. And so us vineyard guys and our kind of vision, and again, taking a lot of some lessons out of grape growing regions from Switzerland, for example, where they will stop at nothing to plant vines on some of the craziest hills you've ever seen. And so, you take a couple of trips there and you come home with a different perspective of what we can do here. And so, we've pushed and pulled and moved some boulders and have planted some really neat sites that are hot and, super stony and produce really intense concentrated wines like Cabernet or Merlot or Cabernet Franc. And so that's kind of really where we've situated ourselves within the Similkameen, understanding that there's a lot of diversity in it. We've really kind of pushed to the more challenging of all those sites.
And so out of the 40 acres planted, you guys produced roughly 5,000 cases, 7,000 cases?
Well, yeah, so we had leveled
depending on which vintage, depending on what Mother Nature provides you, obviously, but...
Yes. So we unfortunately were just kind of really getting into production on some of those vineyards. So we had kind of stabilized at 20 producing acres for quite some time. So we have some contract and lease sites and stuff that we were producing from. And so we were around 55 to 5,800 cases. In 22, we finally received, the fruits of our labor for some of our recent plantations. And so we were certainly going to be much closer to 10,000 as some of those came on, cases production a year. And so, then cue the winter of 22 and again of 23. We've had some pretty significant setbacks in that production. So, but certainly with our 40 acres and the tonnage we aim to produce, which will average around 3 tons an acre from Cabernet to Pinots, or somewhere around 3 tons, that would, produce about 120 to 150 tons with a couple of our contracts. So, that's our goal. And so we're really excited about that. We're very passionate about the region and our experience and our developing skill set on producing some of the most interesting grape quality in British Columbia.
So before we dig deeper into the 2021 Cabernet Sauvignon, I want to spend the next 5 minutes talking about the Similkameen Valley. I mean, you mentioned there's a couple things that you've mentioned, dramatic, right? When you drive to the Similkameen, that's the first thing you think. It's breathtaking, it's dramatic. The layout, everything, the mountain, the ruggedness, it's absolutely breathtaking. So what makes the Similkameen Valley such a unique place to be a grape growing region?
Well, so, I guess we're unique in many ways, but the big ones would be, most valleys will have a lake around wine producing regions. We have no lake here. We're a steep valley that flows, of course, at the bottom of the valley is the Similkameen River, and it flows out and enters the Okanagan just south of Osoyoos into the United States. And so those large bodies of water typically really moderate air temperature. So it will have a big buffering impact on, moderating extreme heats and also moderating extreme cools. In the Similkameen, because we do not have that, our temperature fluctuations or our diurnal shifts, so from our evening lows to our daytime highs, can be quite dramatic. And so that has an amazing impact on retaining a lot of freshness in wine. So we get all the daytime heats and sometimes excessive heats. And so we deal with that in different ways. But so we're able to harness the sun's energy and that thermal energy to produce really ripe characteristics in wine. Yet in the evenings, as we see a lot of this, evening cool air come in, it floods the valley with cool air and it retains a lot of freshness because a lot of acidities are actually, retained through ambient air temp on the shoulders of the day. So those would be kind of the big ones. The diurnal temperature fluctuation that we have is huge. Our geology is ever changing from, elevation. So from the highest visible regions of the valley, which are right at the base of rock cliffs in many cases, you get a gradient of aggregate from very coarse rubbly to, more mixed or finer gravels, eventually to sands, and then eventually to silts down the valley wall, down at the valley floor. So, that is a extreme, over a very short kilometer range, you'll get all those different soil characteristics. And then, cue in the west side of the valley versus the east side of the valley in terms of morning sun benefit versus afternoon sun benefit. And so all in a very small area. And so the lessons are still out in terms of, what is our signature grape and what is our, it's difficult because every grower has a different approach to it and they're dealt very different landscapes. So it's not really it can't generalize the valley. We're still really much working on that. There's a lot of, nor do we want to, because we love the fact that we have this amazing diverse, climate and geology to work with. And then of course the owners and producers have different wine style preferences
and like there's the T word, right? The T word, the terroir. I mean, we define terroir? Yes, the soil, the sun inclination. There's so many factors, but I think one thing, and especially true with the Similkameen, is the wind.
Yeah, thank
the
you.
wind is something you comes. It's truly part of who you are, truly part of the terroir of the Similkameen Valley. When you talk with local, they gotta call it the darn wind. It's part of your life, your daily life. It's the wind, but for farmers, it's a blessing. It's a blessing as disguised because man, it keeps dry. It keeps everything away from disease pressure, beats up the grape, thicken the skins. This is something great for our grape growers, right?
Oh, it's a great point. Yeah. And so for all those reasons, this really hot, desert, dry, windy climate is the reason that the Similkameen is the organic capital of Canada. So many producers here have just leaned hard into this ideology because of course there's, it's a very, I don't want to use granola earthy. There's very conscious people here in this valley that choose a particular lifestyle and produce the best food in the world. There's no doubt. We have, amazing cattle producers. We have amazing ground crops and tree fruits. And this is God's country in so many ways. And so, and that is, a large due to the fact that our climate just allows it. We're not, it's pretty easy to be, I shouldn't say it's easy. It's very possible to be organic in this valley.
Yeah, no, it's a big focus, that's for sure. Okay, 2021 Cabernet Sauvignon. That's the wine that is featured here in our Pan-Canadian Advent calendar. The way I designed the whole 12 days, I really wanted to focus on 12 different sub-regions, different grape varietals for different style. So here we are now, 100% Cabernet from the Similkameen Valley. It makes this one much different than anything that we have in our lineup. So can we talk about the Cabernet Sauvignon? Is it 100% Cab? Do you have a little flash of Petit Verdot, a little bit of
No, 100% Cab. You bet.
100% Cab from estate grown, I believe.
Of course, yeah. This is our pride and joy. For all the reasons that we've described. When introducing the Similkameen Valley, the Cabernet requires our best science of everything that we just discussed, and work really hard to producing small tonnage, very concentrated berry. For this impactful Cabernet. As you know, Cabernet can hold on to a lot of pyrocenes and have, these really late season herbaceous characteristics. It's a game of passion and patience for sure. So Cabernet requires immediate attention at all plant stages when we're doing any kind of physiological or physical canopy and cultural work. And we got to get the crop balanced. We got to get it right, opened up the leaves, exposed to sunlight, and then it creates this really, balanced, impactful Cabernet. 21 is a vintage that's super worth noting because we talk about drama and intensity. Well, 21 was
That's the heat dome here, right?
the heat dome year, yeah. And it's always a double-edged sword. We received this heat dome, mid early June, already reached temperatures of mid 40s. And what that had done is that's bloom in the vineyard. So typically, all fruits start from flowers, and vineyards are no different. We go through a period of bloom, and in those extreme heats, the actual berries can cook off the flower, and so you get something called shatter, where you get a much lighter cluster weight. And so instead of having 100 berries on a large cluster, you'll have 60. And so that is a massive way to reduce your crop load, in an uncontrolled way, which is not ideal. But it does create that crop load, high intensity wines all the way through the season. So I'm very proud of 21 wines, particularly this Cabernet, because it does have the ability to manage heat stress more than a lot of other varietals.
Yeah.
And so
I think 21 was a big challenge for whites, but I think for varietals like the Cab Sauv, it was, and now you got the skin juice ratio, smaller crop, these wines are so intense. The intensity, the complexity, but also the power into these grapes are very, very noticeable. What is your oak program?
So in our Bordeaux varietals, and I shouldn't generalize, we have a 90% French oak program. In this case, without looking at our barrel selection, certainly the into 35% new barrel program, particularly for Cabernets that require a lot more of that new oak oxidation. And so people always kind of automatically assume that new barrel programs provide more oak seasoning, although that is true. Really good French oak barrels will not just season the wine, they will also create a very active oxidation process that through early to mid phases of wine aging really softens a lot of these tannins. And so a lot of green characteristics, in fact, can be oxidized out of wine if the barrel is appropriate. So we worked a lot with our barrel program. We've tried a lot of different coopers, done all the studies, all the signs. And so, there's a lot of two barrel selections for a wine like this. Again, because they're small production wines, we have to get it right because one barrel has a large impact, right? I mean, this is an 11 barrel production wine. So if 2 barrels are not ideal, that is a significant amount of impact.
280 cases. I mean, when you get 25 cases a barrel, so yeah, the math is pretty easy to make here, right? It's the 280 cases. It's approximately the same amount of cab that you make on a yearly basis, between 350 and 250.
Yeah, in 22, again, we had one of our flagship vineyards was coming online with some really nice young vines that were expressing really well. So I think our 22 production might have almost been twice as much. But for 20 to 21. These are a lot of older vines, so anywhere from like 14 to 18 years of age, we're producing this Cabernet. And we had, like I said, in 22 had a vineyard come online, which unfortunately we've lost it. So, we were going somewhere a little bit, a larger production. I mean, we're a tiny winery, but yeah, we were looking to produce somewhere between 500 and 800 cases of Cabernet in the future. And so, but we'll be back there.
Yeah, we'll be back there at some point. So when do you prefer your French oak toasted, or you're more of a medium toast, or you like to crank it up, or you like to mix it up depending on the vintage?
We mix it up. So, any barrel program for us, if you did, for example, if you had 10 barrels of something and you put all the same 10 barrels in it, you would have a very kind of like single lane, because there's a lot of tannin contribution from barrels as well. So to answer your question, we often do medium long toasted. We'll have sometimes medium plus, but those typically go more for Cabernet Franc and Merlot. Our Cabernet programs like a medium toast, and in almost all cases untoasted heads. So French oak barrels can go untoasted, while American oak barrels always have to be toasted.
Mhm.
There is a particular characteristic in American oak that requires toasting. So so yeah, I mean, it's again not about creating flavor from barrels. It's about the other attributes barrels provide when it comes to the immediate and medium term aging of red wines like Cabernet that are quite tannic and concentrated. So untoasted heads create a lot of very pretty softer characteristics that don't season, for example, to that of a toasted or a heavy toasted barrel.
Awesome, awesome. So now let's get to the last part of what I wanted to ask you. 2024 was a disaster, a disastrous natural event. Now it's been well documented, so everyone knows. But what's interesting now is which direction each and every winery has taken to keep the lights on, to keep their employees on the payroll, and to how to be more, I would say, out there and with some imagination, and what's the option offered to you. So, well, which direction did Courcelette took with the no grapes for the 2024?
So everyone's situation is different. So I will talk about ours. Our estate vineyards and some of our initial assets were, I don't want to say aged out, but when you start looking at posts and trellis systems, the infrastructure to vineyards, as they get to that 20 to 25 year window, they start kind of, the idea that you're going to replant that vineyard is not always an economically wise choice, because as soon as the vineyards become online and start producing, then the infrastructure starts to fall apart. So we've done a lot of like full blank canvas. We've pulled all of, we did about 18 acres this spring. Okay. There are full ground up builds, which is, a heartbreak in many ways, but also a very exciting way to take all of your learnings from when those vineyards were initially planted. We recognize that those grapes made phenomenal wines, and the cab that we're talking about is certainly a good example of that. But, could we do better? And the answer is always. So we've reconsidered the way we are going to produce our vines in terms of the setup, the trunk, the fruiting wire height. How do we move away from, or how do we continue our journey into a much more sustainable approach in terms of mulching and mechanical weed control? And there's a lot of questions that producers ask themselves. So in that same kind of rebuild phase, we also had an opportunity to move some of our vineyards around. I got some vineyard maps from our previous generation, which were very busy as entry level producers. We came in, we planted a lot of like third of an acre of this, and lots of micro blocks, and so since that initial planting, we've acquired all these other sites. We can now move the best suited varietal to the best soil type to the best parts of our real estate holdings, and that's been very exciting. And I know that is going to pay dividends when these vineyards are all back online.
I don't know if you remember, Charlie. When we visited with you 3 years ago, you took us on the quad all the way up to, there was a new area where you were planning to put some Pinot Noir up there. I remember I have a cool video of that. I'm sure Mira's going to pull that off in a few seconds. But you had the gun, you got the cactus, the plier, and you say, guys, buckle up, we're going up. My son, my oldest son was with us. He's like, holy crap, what is happening here? So we went all the way up, and that site is still operating, or did you find any planted stuff there?
Well, so we did plant that. We had 3 really cool Dijon clones of Pinot Noir that we were excited to get our first crop from, this year or even last year. And so we've had a couple setbacks up there like every other farm. So it is back in a bit of a rebuild phase. We just kind of continue. We've had 2 back-to-back really challenging winters. And so as soon as we kind of rehab a vineyard, we get excited about it. And then, cue the next winter. And so, yeah, but I appreciate that memory, because that is a very cool project. Or we've chiseled, just under 3 acres of really neat Pinot Noir up on a high bench. Steep,
oh, yeah, that is like one of the coolest view I've ever seen. Like the pictures are going to come up on the screen very shortly. Mira's going to get that up. But oh my God, like some of the most picturesque, like most beautiful picture plays that you can even imagine.
I think we have one if Mira's log section somewhere is a really cool drone shot that the photographer took for us, and it shows the whole landscape a little bit for your guests. So
yeah, that's awesome. Oh, that's amazing, Charlie. So I again, night number 8. This is wine number 8 of our Pan Canadian Advent calendar, and we are with Charlie Bessler, owner and winemaker at Courcelette Estate Winery in the Similkameen Valley. So, Charlie, thank you so very much for spending time with us. Greatly appreciated. Happy holidays to you, Jesse, the girls, and the family, and wishing you all the best. And hopefully 2025, we can see Courcelette label back into Carl's Wine Club lineup.
Yes. Well, Carl, we're honored to be included in your programming and your wine promotion. So thank you again. It's so great. And Merry Christmas to you and all of your members.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Woo! Wow, that was fun. And I gotta say, this Cab Sauv is a food wine. I had to go get some salami. Like, I want to have this. Okay, Mira pairing moment. I want to have this with Marry Me short ribs, where you literally pour a whole bottle of Cabernet into the short ribs and slow cook.
Don't waste the Cabernet in the short rib. No, put it in my glass.
Cabernet, okay, maybe a slightly less expensive Cabernet, but
I mean, and it's opening up right now. It's juicy more and more. I like it's the 14%. It's not like 14.9, super boozy. No, the fruit is coming on top right now. That's that licorice as well. Maybe a little hint of pencil shaving. This is truly Cab. I love it more and more. So I'm settling now at 93 points. I'm telling you, there's no doubt in that selection. 93 for the Cab. This was gold medal this year in 2024. Gold medal at the at Wine Align. Finish at the top of the Cabernet selection in the country. And that's the pride. That's the crown jewel of the Similkameen. It's the Cabernet Sauvignon grape. And it's like Charlie said, I mean, these high heat units help develop the Cabernet Sauvignon, and that's what they hang their hat on, and that's what they're cherishing the most. It's Cab Sauv. So here, that's the video. Oh my God, the kids were so young.
I know. It's amazing what 2 years does to kids. But that's where they ended up planting the Pinot Noir, which sounds like is no longer because of the freezing temperatures this last January. But you can get a better sense for how crazy it is up there. And like what Gabby did just there to fall like that, if he fell on a cactus, those are serious cacti. Luckily he didn't, but they are like they can go right through the sole of a serious foot, like the
footwear.
Serious footwear. Yeah. Shoes. So that's why you need the pliers, because if you do step on one, you can't just pull that thing out with your fingers. I mean, it's like a very sharp. Yeah,
they're like blades. So it's pretty crazy. So there was
the phosphates in the soil. Yeah, so it's just like super steep and rocky, and like he said, like I was saying earlier, we had to take a gun just in case. Like I think there's the pliers right there for the cacti. So yeah, quite interesting.
Oh man, it reminds. That's such a cool memories right there. I love it. I need to dig out that corselet hat. I forgot about that. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, look at that soil composition. So really, 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 really good.
Yeah, Daryl agrees that this Cab Sauv is a food wine. And Joan is finding that her favorite wines are from the Similkameen, which is interesting. She's visited there repeatedly. Such a spectacular place. Absolutely. And I mean, if you look at like what we were showing earlier with the wineries, it's not a small amount of wineries there. I mean, there's at least 10 or 15 wineries, and they're all really nice wineries. Vanessa Vineyards, Orofino, obviously Corselet's, Bottega with their rosé vineyards are there.
Claude Soleil is right next door. Claude du Soleil and Corselet are side by side. So
yeah, absolutely. So
that's another here. That's another Similkameen Valley rock star right there. So yeah. Oh, I love that Cabernet Sauvignon. Really cool interview here with Charlie Bessler, owner winemaker at Corselet Estate Winery. Night number 8 of our 12 nights of Christmas. Reveal number 8 as now that we are talking big boys. This is a big Cabernet Sauvignon, 100%, 280 cases produced, 2021 vintage, gold medal at Wine Align, and 93 points. Carl's Wine Club. Yes. So now we just have a quarter to go. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Just 4 more to go. I mean, 3 quarters gone. I mean, where did the time go? Where did the time go?
Very fast, very fast. And I have to say, I mean, you opened this Cab Sauv for us tonight, so I am going to make those braised short ribs with it. I'm telling you. I know it's such a nice wine that we don't want to.
Wait a minute.
Oh, now there's not enough left. I'll do half with that and half with something else.
I have some Cabernet Sauvignon from Lou Puglisi's, so we can do a little blend of Niagara on the Lake and 2/3 Similkameen, 1/3 Niagara on the Lake. We're gonna call it the Pan Canadian Short Mira Short Ribs. How about that? Perfect. Are we gonna have the short ribs ready for tomorrow for the Ravens games? Maybe.
Maybe we should. So what kind of wine is tomorrow, though? I mean, tomorrow's night number 9.
Night number 9 tomorrow. We are going. Yes, another red. Is it another red? Yes, it is another red tomorrow.
Well, the instructions you gave, you gave these instructions. No need to chill. Cellar temperature is fine. So
yeah. Yeah, another big red tomorrow. We're back-to-back big reds before we go on the white. So yes, back-to-back big reds, back-to-back Western Canada big reds. So yeah, looking forward to tomorrow, night number 9. It was a really cool interview. I hope that on my side it was cutting off a little bit. I know that the internet in the Similkameen is not always the greatest, but yeah. So if you want, my tasting notes are going to be up by tomorrow morning at the very latest, maybe tonight, and you can purchase these wines. This wine here is almost sold out. The 22 is already on their website. There's a few cases left. I asked Jessie to put a couple cases aside for us at Carl's Wine Club. She agreed. So we have, if you want more, if you want to build your own case, if you want to secure 3, 6, or even only 1, send us a note. That's something possible. We are doing build your own case throughout the 12 days. So you can pick and choose which one. If you hit 12 bottles, we'll ship it to you for free. So super cool. And yeah, if you ever want to revisit the interview, you can send us a note and we can do whatever we want.
Lots of fun. So hey, let's draw for $30 off your next Carl's Wine Club purchase. We'll do a quick draw here. Funny, Jim and Tracy are out for dinner, but they snuck in some comments on Instagram just to say hi to us. So thanks, guys.
Are
Nice
they
to see you.
up
Hope you enjoy
there
your dinner.
with Daryl, or are they doing that tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow, right?
That's tomorrow. Tomorrow they're all together. They're going to open some of these wines, or hopefully Daryl has pumped the air out of whatever's got left over of the ones he's opened the last few days, if there's too many leftovers. But yeah, here we go, guys. Let's draw for the winner for tonight. Oh.
She's collecting the $30 back to back. Oh my God, Karen, that is awesome! Awesome!
Congratulations! See what can happen when you're tuning in all the time. It's amazing. So, so I'm going to send that to you, Karen. They can be stacked. So I sent you the first one, and you'll just have a second one that you can just stack onto your next purchases. That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. Our Red Blends Live December 28th is going fabulously. There's more and more wines showing up every day. So many amazing wines.
More and more ones, more and more tasting notes, more and more scores, more and more text sheets to enter. But geez, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tune in on December 28th, and we're going to have some mystery pack available from that as well. And I think Mira's just about to put on our website the December 31st event now.
Yeah, so last year, I mean, the first 3 years of Carl's Wine Club, on New Year's, we did a fun game. It was like a Vanna White style game where we would reveal different bottles, and you can win a bottle and you can steal somebody else's bottle. And maybe we'll go back to that at some point. But last year, we started a slightly new tradition. We decided to announce our top 10 wines of the year on New Year's. So kind of way to kickstart your evening if you haven't quite left the house yet, or if you're staying in, it's a nice way to get started. So yeah, we'll do our reveal again this year on New Year's, starting at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. It's the top 10 wines of the year reveal. So yeah. Is there a running list of wines from the Red Blend night? Yes. So we do have a spreadsheet. Actually, I can share that links right away, I think.
Wow.
So what we've been doing,
I'm working on it. There's much more to add to it. So
well, you can still get an idea. I'll share it so they can see an idea of what's on there right now. But yeah, the last few ones, we've put our spreadsheet quite live. So that you can follow along, and as we go, we'll like mark the scores on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, but there's two sheets on that, Mira. Be careful. One is with all of the information from the wineries.
Oh, okay.
So
well, I won't share that then.
No, and the other one, there's just the name of the wine. It doesn't have the winery name, so that's why this one it's not shareable.
Well, I'll just share the one with the name of the wines. How about that? So you can get an idea. Just give me 1 sec here.
Don't argue with your wife when she has a couple of glasses of Cab Sauv.
Well, I even had like half a glass. That is a strong Cab Sauv. I had to go get like food with it. I'm telling you. I am telling you. But okay, this gives you an idea.
Yeah. So Dean, there's a bunch more to enter in there. So it's just a preliminary worksheet for myself. So yeah.
Gives you an idea. Red 24. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Share.
So I have to take the youngest here for the Santa skates tonight. So Mira's not going to skate with Santa tonight, I have to tell you. So I'm gonna hit the road, take the young goalie that's skating with Santa Claus. So that was night number 8 with Courcelette Estate Winery of our 12 nights of our Advent calendar, and Canadian Advent calendar. So tomorrow night, we're going back with the Big Red. So I can't wait for another fun evening. So hopefully we're going to be in a good mood with the big Ravens win. I'm going to wear the 89 numbers. So lots of fun coming up tomorrow, guys. So Mira, we good to go?
We're good to go. Yeah.
Canadian wine lovers. Carl's Wine Club members, I'll see you tomorrow night.
Cheers, guys.